Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? Hope you're doing great. Little technical challenges on this end, so we're a minute or two late. Hope you're okay. That there's finding some goodness in this day. Just trying to get things going here. How are you, everyone? Hope you're doing good. Hey, good morning, Yvette. How are you? Good morning, friends. How is everybody today? Hi, Jane. Good morning to you. Hey, Karen. Good morning. Hope you're doing great. Hope it's a good day. Relieved to hear that Mags is doing well and things are all right. Good morning. 2 weeks to knee surgery. Can't wait for it to be done. That's great. Praying for you. I hope it's nothing but relief and all goodness, Donna. So, hey, Allison. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing grand on this day. Good morning, friends. That's hi. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. So. All right, good morning, friends. Let's get going. It is the 17th day of June here at 11:11, and I'm glad you're with us. And on this grand day, it is gray and foggy out, which is pretty much what June brings here on beautiful Buzzards Bay and Mount Hope Bay. So, it is the season. So. Good morning. This is the beginning of the book of James. It goes like this. This is kind of my own little twist on it. So great 250th for the Army. Very nice. Yes, 250 for the Army. All right. So the book of James. Count it all joy, my brothers and sisters, whatever you face, different challenges, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And let perseverance complete its work, so that you may be wise and whole, not lacking anything. You know, we're in a world that is just filled with uncertainty right now. That it is nearly impossible to know what's coming next. It is it's lions, tigers, and bears, UFOs. Who knows what's coming next? One of the things about this uncertainty of the future is that it brings with it all manner of challenges, right? We know often that if we set out to climb a hill, or we go for a hike, or we set a challenge before us, that's one thing. That is one thing that we can encounter. But often, and particularly in these days, we're encountering challenges we just never expected to see. You know, there's this old story about the old comedian Gracie Allen, and she received a small alligator in the mail as a joke, like a little boxed up alligator, and it was actually a live alligator, and so she didn't know what to do with it, but she had to go out, and she had an appointment, and so she put the alligator in the tub and figured she'd deal with it when she got back. When she got home, there was a note there from her maid, and it said this: "Dear Miss Allen, sorry, but I have to quit. I don't work in houses where there is an alligator. I told you this when I took it on, but I never thought it would come up." So, you know, we think about that our lives are the challenges of our days are kind of filled with the unexpected alligators. Like those are the things that those are the things that really get us. Those are the things that bring us into the real challenges. You know, that line from James, it says, whenever you face different challenges, it actually is translated like, and many challenges, like all these different, these things. There's the challenges you expect. Yeah, we're going to have to get up. We're going to have to work this life. We're going to have to do these things. We're going to have to climb the mountains ahead of us. We're going to have to set the day as it is. But then there are the alligators in the tub. And what God wants from us in contending with the alligators in the tub, what God wants from us in the challenges that we don't expect, in the ways that our bodies break that we never thought they would, in the ways that our hearts break that we never thought they would, the way that our institutions break that we never thought they would, the way that our relationships break that we never thought they would, those alligators that show up in the tub that we never thought were possible or would ever find their way into us, that in those things, God invites us to count them as joy. Now, how do we count things like that as joy? How do we do this? Because of the fact that we get to be in this life. We get to be in a life in which alligators show up in the tub, even though they might snap at us, even though they might seem unmanageable. That what God wants from us through confronting these things is to make us wise and whole. And inevitably, the things that will make us wise and whole is that our perseverance has its way with us. I love this line, the way it's translated, well, kind of because I translated it that way, so it's easy that way. But let perseverance complete its work. Let perseverance complete its work. The ancients always saw the virtues, these different virtues, courage, abstinence, all of them, as charity, as actual figures in which you have relationship to, because these are things that we have relationships to. We have relationships to our own ability to persevere or not. Like sometimes our perseverance gets up and leaves the room. Sometimes our charity, our ability to be compassionate, gets up and leaves the room. Sometimes we have a way, and there's a way in which we have to court it, right? We have to have a relationship. We have to negotiate with our ability to persevere. We have to negotiate with our ability to be brave and courageous. We have to negotiate with these things. And so the ancients rightly put them in this place where they were figures that we have relationships to, because that really is how we encounter them. God wants to make us wise and whole. And the way that God is doing that is through the alligators in the tub, through the encounter with the uncertainties, the things that we never thought, that we told God we didn't want that, but we never thought it would really come up. We're built for this. If you don't think you can do it, or you think your heart's breaking, or you're scared, or you're worried, we're built for this. And that your perseverance will complete its work if we just stay in relationship with Jesus. If we just stay in relationship. It is the testing of your faith that produces perseverance. It's not that we have to see if you're worthy. It is that God has work to do with us. And if we simply stay in it with him, if we simply stay with him and we find the joy where we can find it, we count the joy where it is, because we get to be in relationship with this one who made us. We get to encounter this life, even though it's hard, even though there might be a gator in the tub. We are built for such things. The great Niccolo Paganini, who is probably one of the greatest violin players ever, he was a couple centuries ago, but he's still today renowned as one of the greatest violin players ever. And he had one of the greatest instruments ever created. They had a beautiful and wonderful violin made that was equal to his talent as a violinist. And that fine instrument, when he died, he gave it to the city of Genoa, his home city. He wanted them to have this instrument that he had made beautiful music on his entire life. His bequest carried one condition, though, that the violin was never to be played. It would simply be sit in the display case. That the last person to have played it would be the hands of the master Paganini. But the thing is what they discovered quite quickly is that an instrument is meant to be played. And that this beautiful instrument that made incredible music, that was made and designed by a master for a master, was coming apart at the seams and was rotting almost immediately, because a finely crafted stringed instrument needed to be handled regularly. It needed to be tightened regularly. It needed to be moved. It needed to be played. And even though Paganini's crest for his marvelous violin ended up becoming nothing but a pile of rotten kindling, because it wasted away from not being played. The challenges of our life, friends, the challenges of our life are actually the notes that God is trying to play on us. The hands of the master might feel rough sometimes. They might feel vigorous sometimes, but he will make music with us. And that is what we are for. If we can but sing the songs, if we can count the blessings, even in the hardest of days, if we can count it all joy, even when it hurts, even when it's uncertain, even when we're full of fear, even when we don't know what's coming next, even when we find the gator in the tub. Because otherwise, we're not living into that which we were made for. That which in the hands of the master can make beautiful music. And that which in the hands of the master, and letting perseverance do its work with us, can make us wise and whole, without a sense of lack, without a sense of loss, without a sense of pain. That is the promise of the gospel. That is the promise of the one who made us. That is Jesus' promise in our life, that we will be made whole through these trials. And if the hands of the master feel rough, or they don't feel right, or they feel like that they are somehow almost going to break your little strings, remember, out of them will come beautiful music. Out of them will come wondrous things. And that without them, we will but be a static piece that will but rot and fall away. We were born for such things. Let perseverance complete its work, so that you may be wise and whole and not lack anything. So count it all joy, my friends, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.